Good morning. This is Bambi Meadowlake for Abolition News Network, March 24th, 1790. We are here at the home of the scientist, inventor, diplomat, and most important, the president of the Society for Promoting the Abolition of Slavery. He is a man of many talents and professions. Please welcome to ANN, Mr. Benjamin Franklin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Franklin, we are well aware of your achievements as a founding father of the United States, an editor of the Declaration of Independence, and a minister to France and England. However, Abolition News Network is most interested in what you are doing now as president of the Pennsylvania Society for the Abolition of Slavery.
Miss Meadowlake, you mentioned me in connection with the Declaration of Independence. Well, I was already unhappy with the slave system by then. And when Thomas Jefferson asked me for my suggestions in his writing of the Declaration, I told him of my objections about what slavery implied for white society. However, many of the passages dealing with slavery had to be removed before it was finished. 80 changes in all. Some Southerners tried to excuse slavery as an inherited institution, arguing that the abolition would destroy their economy. But here, I'll read to you what we originally had. Heavens, Tom's writing is atrocious. Let's see. This piratical warfare, the opportunism of infidel powers, is the warfare of the Christian king of Great Britain, determined to keep open a market where men should be bought and sold. He has prostituted his negative for suppressing every legislative attempt to prohibit or to restrain this irascible commerce. This had to be removed by the final draft.
Wow, no wonder we have such trouble today with our race. You said you were unhappy earlier. Can you tell us about that?
It was in about 1760. I was living in London, and I began to realize that slavery was doing something to harm the development of white society. Black workers were relieving their masters of drudgery-type work, such as hauling freight, wood, preparing meals, caring for children, chimney sweeping. And you see, when white folks of London see a profession like this being taken over by slaves, they don't want to do that particular job themselves. And so I was seeing whites with slaves not laboring themselves, enfeebled with their children, becoming disgusted by physical labor, educated in idleness, not fit to get a living by industry. And that's the real danger of slavery.
Wow, I see. So were you the only person that saw this?
No. When I was living in my home in Boston, I was exposed to the anti-slavery spokesmen such as Samuel Sewall, the Quaker abolitionist Anthony Benezet, associates of the Reverend Thomas Bray, who opened schools in America for black children. Now, I visited one of those schools in Philadelphia and was quite impressed with the capacities of the black race. Such schools might imbue the minds of their young slaves with good principles.
Well, see, now we're getting somewhere. Now let's get back to the U.S. at present. How is your influence with your friends in Congress?
Well, as the president of the Pennsylvania Society for the Abolition of Slavery, I now felt empowered and inspired to write a formal statement of grievances against slavery on February 5th of this year. I sent it to my friend, John Adams, who was now head of the Senate, who sent it to the Speaker of the House, who gave it to a committee, and the House debated it as a whole, and on March 23rd, yesterday, voted that it had no authority to interfere in the internal affairs of the states. So, the abolition of slavery is put off until another day.
Mr. Franklin, you have come such a long way. Please do not give up.
Miss Meadowlake, no. I'd like to read to you an address to the public I wrote in Philadelphia in November of 1789, November 9th, 1789, just last year, not only exposing this atrocious debasement of human nature, but also making a strong plea for any considerable sum of money it will take to further our cause to restore freedom and civil liberty to all.
Yes, please do.
I hate to burst your bubble, but I have a document here that says you owned 5 to 7 slaves, at least.
Who in the world are you?
My name is Flora Den Fox. I'm the receptionist here at A&M.
Well, yes, I have several servant slaves, but I plan to free them when I die. Let's see, there's Peter, Jemima, Othello, King, and George. Well, actually, King ran away while I was in London.
Well, I think that you should free them now. You are the president of the Pennsylvania Abolition Society.
But they're my personal servants. I need them every day now.
Miss Demquat, you seem to be irritating our guest. Let him give a speech, and then you can talk with him about his slaves later.
All right. I think you should act more like an abolitionist than just sound like one. I do like your bifocals. That's what you call them, isn't it?
Yes, I had my optician join 2 lenses together. So the upper one is for seeing at a distance, and the lower for up close.
Oh.
Now, here we go. An address to the public from the Pennsylvania Society for Promoting the Abolition of Slavery and the Relief of Free Negroes Unlawfully Held in Bondage. It is with peculiar satisfaction we assure the friends of humanity that in prosecuting the design of our association, our endeavors have proved successful far beyond our most sanguine expectations. Encouraged by this success and by the daily progress of that luminous and benign spirit of liberty which is diffusing itself throughout the world, and humbly hoping for the continuance of the divine blessing on our labors, we have ventured to make an important addition to our original plan, and do therefore earnestly solicit the support and assistance of all who can feel the tender emotions of sympathy and compassion, or relish the exalted pleasure of beneficence. Slavery is such an atrocious debasement of human nature that its very extirpation, if not performed with solicitous care, may sometimes open a source of serious evils. The unhappy man who has long been treated as a brute animal too frequently sinks beneath the common standard of the human species. The galling chains that bind his body do also fetter his intellectual faculties and impair the social affections of his heart. Accustomed to move like a mere machine by the will of a master, reflection is suspended. He has not the power of choice, and reason and conscience have but little influence over his conduct. Because he is chiefly governed by the passion of fear, he is poor and friendless, perhaps worn out by extreme labor, age, and disease. Under such circumstances, freedom may often prove a misfortune to himself and prejudicial to society. Attention to emancipated black people, it is therefore to be hoped, will become a branch of our national police. But as far as we contribute to promote this emancipation, so far that attention is evidently a serious duty incumbent on us, and which we mean to discharge to the best of our judgment and abilities. To instruct, to advise, to qualify those who have been restored to freedom for the exercise and enjoyment of civil liberty, to promote in them habits of industry, to furnish them with employment suited to their age, sex, talents, and other circumstances, and to procure their children an education calculated for their future situation in life. These are the great outlines of the annexed plan, which we have adopted and which we conceive will essentially promote the public good and the happiness of those our hitherto too much neglected fellow creatures. A plan too extensive, and so extensive cannot be carried into execution without considerable pecuniary resources beyond the present ordinary funds of the society. We hope much from the generosity of enlightened and benevolent freemen, and will gratefully receive any donations or subscriptions for this purpose, which may be made to our treasurer, James Starr, or to James Pemberton, chairman of our Committee of Correspondence. Signed by order of the Society, Benjamin Franklin, President.
Wow, that is rather impressive. I'll say no more than I think that we still may have a long way to go, considering the opposition of the whole abolition subject. This is Bambi Meadowlake for Abolition News Network saying, I hope slavery is short-lived so as not to affect the relationship between white and black free people.